The annual conference of the East Africa International Arbitrators Conference was held recently in Kigali, the Rwandan capital, and in person for the first time in nearly 3 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The global summit and awards brings together several hundreds of arbitration practitioners from across Africa and around the world, looking to examine the best practices in their industry and chart a way forward. Joining me now to discuss the conference and other topical issues in that sector is the winner of the Leading Case Council Team 2022, Kamau Karori. He's a senior partner and head of dispute resolution practice group at DLA Piper in Kenya. Also in on this discussion is James Kariuki, who's the winner of the Young Arbitrator of the Year 2022, an associate at DLA Piper Africa in Kenya. Good evening, gentlemen. Congratulations and thanks for coming on the show. So let's start with you, Mr. Karori. Can you share with us a bit of the background or a summary of the particular case that was considered for DLA Piper as a winner? I hope you can hear us. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, excellent. All right, let me take that question again. So, can you share with us a bit of the background or a summary of the particular case that was considered for DLA Piper as a winner?
Yeah, so in coming up with the decision as to who is a winner, normally they will consider more than just a particular case that was dealt with by the firm. And ordinarily what they look at is a firm that is engaged in promoting arbitration practice in the region. So although we've been involved in quite a number of matters at the international level, but the firm has also been at the forefront of promoting general practice of international arbitration. One of the cases we did that was widely reported is the Kotek Mining versus the Republic of Kenya. It was a 2.5 billion claim that had been filed against Kenya. And we succeeded in defending the government of Kenya and in getting the claim dismissed. But apart from just the general cases that we have done, both domestic and international, DLA Piper has also been at the forefront of promoting the general practice of international arbitration by Africans. And I think that went a long way in persuading the judges that this was a suitable firm to win the award.
Great stuff. Can you tell us about DLA Piper Africa's work as an international legal firm and in particular Kenya?
So DLA Piper is an international firm, but Kenya is also part of the DLA Piper Africa, which brings together a number of countries within Africa, and we collaborate in the work that we do. So DLA Piper Africa is in Kenya, is in quite a number of countries, including Nigeria, most countries in West Africa, and in the East African region. And we take up most of the significant briefs that are involved in international arbitration. For example, we represent the government of Kenya in quite a number of matters. You realize that although international arbitration has been going on for many years, this is the time Africa is really getting involved in international arbitration. This is when more cases are coming up involving African states, generally because this is when the investments that are done by investors are maturing more and more for many African countries, especially in the extractive industry. So DLA Piper, in the various countries in which it is represented, has taken up quite a number of these cases. Obviously, as you know, most international arbitration briefs are confidential in nature, but I can say that in terms of representation in international arbitration cases, DLA Piper is at the forefront of that. And also DLA Piper is involved a lot in the training and promotion of young arbitrators and promotion of African arbitrators so that they can take their rightful place in representing parties and being appointed as arbitrators in the international level. Because that's been one of the chief complaints, that Africans are not getting involved a lot in arbitration disputes internationally. And what has been happening is that most cases are being exported from Africa to Europe and other places. But DLA Piper is determined, or is at the forefront of ensuring that these cases remain in Africa and that they are handled by Africans.
All right, thank you, Mr. Karori. Let's go over to Mr. Kariuki. Can you tell me about your award as the Young Arbitrator of the Year for 2022, and congratulations on that.
First of all, thank you. Thank you for the good words. I am humbled, to say the least. I think it's important to recognize the development phase in this profession. And this is exactly what this award does, because it's not just inspiring, not just to me, or rather, it's inspiring not just to me, but it also inspires upcoming practitioners on the journey to the top. And it's important to note that the basis of this award, given that it's to be awarded to a young practitioner, it just doesn't reflect what the young practitioner has done in the profession as an arbitrator or as a dispute resolver. It also reflects what the young practitioner has done in trying to disseminate or trying to make it easier for not just himself, but for other young practitioners in the profession. This can be done in very many ways, but what the idea is generally is taking arbitration to the young arbitrators and making or giving them more opportunities that they would have given their short level, or rather the limited amount of experience compared to those well seasoned in the profession. As I mentioned, this can be done in quite a number of ways, and most popular, it can be done in form of seminars and webinars where we have done and continue to go to our local universities even before they have finished their initial degree and start telling them about the practice, and not just that, telling them the opportunities that they could start to pursue at that point in time in their lives, and how they can use that to develop over the years, and in their young capacity manage to accomplish great strides within the profession. There are many other ways this can be done, of course. There are trainings we offer them, there are conferences that have been done before. And as Mr. Karori has mentioned, and rightly so, the firm of DLA Piper, and in particular IKM Advocates, as well as in my capacity as chair of the Young Members Group, have done quite a bit in terms of disseminating this information, particularly to the young practitioners, and making it easier for them, because there's a perception that things may be difficult on this side of the profession. But truth be told, it's all about how much effort you put, and it's also all about the amount of information that you have when you're going in, which is the issue that we're trying to cure, and what this award in particular means to me. Thank you very much.
All right, and Mr. Kariuki, let's stick with you. Well, what are the key issues in dispute resolution globally? Actually, Mr. Karori, what are the key issues in dispute resolution globally at the moment?
So at the moment, most of the issues that arise are in relation to the extractive. So what has happened is that there are very many investors that have come into, especially the African region, and they have invested mainly in mining, in infrastructure, and those are the areas in which you find there are very many cases that have cropped up, because Africa is still a bastion of minerals and is relatively undeveloped when it comes to infrastructure. Also, when it comes to issues like energy. In fact, one of the issues that is emerging rapidly now is in respect of the environmental matters that have come up, and they're moving away from dirty energy and moving into clean energy. And we expect that there will be quite a significant number of these matters arising, because you can imagine in situations where parties entered into agreements for supply of energy based, for example, on diesel or on coal, or on other sources of energy that are now considered not to be appropriate. If those contracts are cancelled, then there will definitely be many claims that will be filed by people that will say, they are entitled to the full benefit of the contracts they entered into, irrespective of the shift in the kind of energy sources that the international community now consider to be appropriate. And so we expect that in those three regions, in energy, in environmental issues, and in extractives and infrastructure, those are the areas we feel that there will be significant claims that will be emerging from this region. You have also seen a few of international claims that have arisen in relation to border disputes, and especially maritime disputes between the various countries. And we expect that these are issues that will keep arising and that will keep having to be resolved from time to time. But those are the areas in general that I feel will be the most significant source of disputes for this region.
All right, thanks for that. Mr. Kariuki, let me come back to you. Are there specific sectors that require arbitration's attention across frontier Africa? And what challenges are presented to your professionals?
Thank you very much for those questions. So, as Mr. Karori has rightly pointed out, investment, and in particular, when it comes to the fact that Africa is a hub for resources and is infrastructure development hub as well. This will also tie into investment, and in particular investment dispute resolution, where now these particular needs of African countries will attract potential investment opportunities. And it's already the case that this is a significant area of practice within arbitration. However, it's still not enough, and much more arbitration attention is needed, in particular to protect the interests of those within the host states, and in particular those within Africa, generally speaking. However, on top of that, there are two other areas that I feel will need increasing arbitration attention over the coming years. And the first of those is innovation and technology. This is one of the markets where, if for lack of a better term, it's still growing, so to speak, and more is coming in terms of new innovations and new technologies. And new is relative. It may be new in a matter of generally speaking, or new in the market. And we may need increased dispute resolution attention, and in particular arbitration attention, when it comes to engaging these new technologies, so as to reap as much benefit as possible and castigate the negatives that may come along with the nature of those innovations and the nature of the technology being introduced into this market. Another such area is e-commerce and international trade. Of course, as it's already established that we are now in a global society, we are all connected. The African market is ripe, so to speak, for the growth of e-commerce, and more consumers in the market present themselves capable of engaging in this market. And in particular, when it comes to international trade, more and more countries are becoming able to, so to speak, trade at a higher level, at a higher quantum. And with that raise in higher level and quantum comes a significant raise in corresponding risk. And as such, increased attention in this area would be crucial, again, to protect the interests of those within African states and those within and the populates within those states respectively. And as to what challenges are presented to us professionals, one of them derives from one of the points of attention that I've just mentioned. The challenges that come with the increased use of technology, and especially the increased use of technology in dispute resolution. There is need to be acclimatized with these new methods, need to adapt. And of course, this might be a rhetoric that may have arisen over the past 2 years owing to the pandemic. However, we have been forced as dispute resolution practitioners to adapt to this new sector or this new aspects of technology, particularly in respect to dispute resolution. There's also a challenge when it comes to young practitioners, and in particular breaking into the international market, because as domestic practitioners, it's clear that you have or you will gather as much experience. However, the international market is yet another playing field, which for young practitioners and generally speaking for African practitioners, as mentioned by Mr. Karori, is a market that we as young and of course African are still in the process of breaking into and dealing with disputes, not just those that pertain to African states, but those that also pertain to those outside the continent. And of course, this one may be very particular, but then when it comes to the amount of time it takes for disputes to be resolved, so to speak, and this corresponds to the nature of practice and the quality of practice, which we already have, and we have the capacity. It's just it's just a matter of that capacity, and by that I refer to the capacity of African practitioners to be recognized as such, so that more opportunities can come. And that can only be done by events like these, and also at an individual level, marketing ourselves as proficient practitioners, as well as those who can deliver an outcome, just as well as those who are practiced outside the continent.
Excellent stuff.
Thank you very much.
All right, great stuff. James Kariuki, Mr. Kamau Karori, both with DLA Piper. Thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations again on your award. We appreciate your time.